January 22nd, 2024 Fond du Lac Board of Education meeting is now called to order at 5:00 p.m. Could we have the roll, please?
Sure. Godfrey.
Here.
Henschel.
Here.
Horth. Here. Motor. Here. Panow.
Here.
Uselman here. Schreider.
Here.
Thank you.
We have established a quorum. At this time, would you please join me for a moment of reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have no announcements or additional communications at this time, so we are going to move on to the public comment portion of the first public comment portion of this meeting. I will once again reference 0167.3, public comment at board meetings. I want to remind our participants that the presiding officer is guided by the following rules. Letter F, all statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No person may address or question board members individually. Letter G, the presiding officer will interrupt, warn, or terminate if the participant's statement is too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. The presiding officer will request any individual to leave the meeting when that person does not observe reasonable decorum. The presiding officer will request the assistance of law enforcement officers in the removal of a disorderly person when that person's conduct interferes with the orderly progress of the meeting. The presiding officer will call for a recess or an adjournment to another time when the lack of public decorum so interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting as to warrant such action. With that being said, if there's anybody that would like to approach the board in the first session of public comment, now is the time to do so. Please remember it's 5 minutes per person, 10 minutes per topic, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Dan Ireland, 102 South Sally. My discussion tonight is about autism. I'd been watching this and concerned about this and why it has saw such an increase in the last, say, 20, 25 years since I've been in school, when we hardly noticed it at all. Well, I found an article by two doctors, Dr. Seneff and Dr. Corin, and they have been involved in healthcare for over 4 decades. Dr. Seneff was working on the intersection of human biology and computers. She was a scientist at MIT, wrote Toxic Legacy and 200 other peer-reviewed articles and papers on a wide range of subjects. Dr. Corson was a clinical practicing doctor. Patients included immune-compromised conditions like Lyme's disease and mold-induced illnesses. She received her Doctor of Medicine from the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. They both attended a conference put together by a professor, Don Huber. He talked about weed killer. What does weed killer have to do with autism? Well, he explained it quite well. In our food supplies is a weed killer, including Fond du Lac school system, school supplies, and any store that we would go to could have this weed killer in it. They found through research that the rise of autism plotted on a curve coincides perfectly with the start and continued use of this weed killer. They claim that this product does not affect us because we don't have the EPSP synthase. The problem is our microbes do have that enzyme. These enzymes produce aromatic amino acids that are essential for metabolism, energy, and internal processes. Dr. Seneff says gut microbes are essential in helping prevent arthritis, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and autism. It was first used as an industrial pipe cleaner, as a chelator. Workers also found that it killed the weeds alongside the pipes. In babies, it inhibits the nutrient processing, the lactobacillins, that really depend on manganese to be healthy. The glyphosate, the weed killer, chelated with the manganese, making it unavailable. The lactobacillins, this lack of lactobacillins then makes the infant sick. This product, she tells us, basically kills important bacteria in our gut microbiome, and that the essential interferes with the essential protein production, the neurotransmitters, and other essential things. Antibiotics, that's another subject, but they also can cause huge problems with the gut microbe. This then allows for overall growth of pathogenic bacteria that makes us sick and our children in Fond du Lac sick. Another complication of the metabolites that are produced by the pathogens that are toxic.
About 30 seconds, Mr. Ireland.
Sure. The liver can detoxify them, but only if the enzymes are not disrupted by this product. Consider not using glyphosate near human contact or in areas of food production. This could be an idea that you use more labeled organic farming products which avoid this weed killer, also called Roundup. Consider using more organic products in the school system. It's going to be a little more costly, but maybe worth it in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Jim Hess, thank you. Last time I said many of us, in the privacy of our minds, disagree with the ideologies and the contemporary narratives of our day. Yet in public, we're fearful to speak up on sensitive issues, lest we're vilified as racists or homophobes. On October 12th, there was a debate in Madison that directly impacts our children. It involved transgender perspectives. The two pro-transgender positions that were argued were, number one, there are no physiological differences between boys and girls. And number two, sex changes for minors are normal and necessary. And I had to write that out because I just wanted you to see that. That was what was argued in Madison. Sex changes for minors are normal and necessary. And I was just wondering how you all felt about that, if what side of that you were on. The medical institutions, like Children Wisconsin and Medical College of Wisconsin, both back the transgender hypothesis. It turns out there is much to be gained financially. On the other hand, long-established, peer-reviewed scientific journals dispute the transgender reasoning. According to the American College of Sports Medicine, biological sex is a primary determinant of athletic performance. And adult men are typically stronger, more powerful, and faster than women of similar age. That was found in the Hunter study done in 2023. I will add, a 15-year-old boy is typically stronger, more powerful, and faster than a girl of similar age. Pertaining to sex change operations, the Madison Capital Times reported top surgeries are being performed on 16-year-olds in Wisconsin. Puberty blockers and hormone therapy are not reversible, as some would like us to believe. But according to the American Journal of Bioethics, Delayed Law 2019 study, researchers have documented many permanent side effects, including disruption of normal bone development and infertility. Because there are few adults willing to take responsibility, then I will represent the adults who are faint-hearted and say to the young women athletes, we are so sorry for the embarrassment and loss of opportunities you young ladies obtained when you were forced to compete against biological men. And because there are so few adults willing to admit we are mutilating our young boys and girls, I will again speak up for the millions and say how sorry we are for allowing these reprehensible surgeries to be carried out on your juvenile bodies. Young people, please forgive us, like this young lady. As adults, we should know better. HR 15 is the so-called equality,
About 30 seconds, Mr. Hess.
okay, is the so-called Equality Act. If passed by Congress, I would be deemed a criminal for what I just said. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to approach the board?
Hi, everybody. I'm Megan Stroop. I am a proud fourth grade teacher at Parkside Elementary, and I'm also one half of the elementary representation of our FEA. And it's Parkside's month to celebrate, so I'm proud to be able to just be here to be able to tell you some awesome and positive things coming out of Parkside. I took some time to be able to check in with our staff, and many of them are just reporting some awesome things. I'm just going to stick to the highlights, though, because of time. So one of the things that our staff is reporting out on is, as a staff, we meet, every grade meets on a 6-day rotation, one day, for data-driven instruction, where we take 90 minutes instead of 45 minutes. And it's targeted collaboration to be able to make sure that our students are making the gains that they need to make based on the standards. I'm proud to be able to report that time, all staff is reporting that time is being used very wisely, very well, and most importantly, we're finding that there's some really positive gains in student growth that can be directly traced back to the collaboration that we are doing as a staff. Furthermore, I think it's our K2 staff that does shared reading. Second grade reported on this, but I'm going to make the assumption that the same is happening at the K1 level, where they're just seeing a lot of growth in the shared reading. It's very engaging, and it's expanding on the background knowledge and vocabulary. And speaking as a parent of a second grader at Parkside, I was just sharing with my daughter's teacher that I'm seeing just a lot of engagement with my own daughter when she's telling me the things that she's learning, and then when I find out it's shared reading. The reading piloting that's going on at the first grade level and the fourth grade level is already going really well. We're only 4 days in, and we're just seeing just a whole lot of student engagement. In particular, my class was really excited about figurative language, especially language like, letting the cat out of the bag, and then they were bringing it back to at home. So we're just having a lot of fun with it, and I love that we're doing poetry, and they're loving it as well. I had students just making a beeline for their individual book checkout toward the poetry section. All I had to say was, hey guys, there's poetry over here. And it was like half of the group was like moving over, and then, other kids were disappointed because they had already done the checkout. So, and then, two more things if I have time. Just that there's just significant reading growth happening, and teachers are really excited by that. In particular, fifth grade is reporting that almost half of fifth grade is already at their end of the year typical growth goal, which is huge for this time of year. And then finally, I checked in with some of our new teachers because we have some new staff, and I wanted to see how they're doing and how they're feeling as brand new staff coming in. And they're reporting that they feel welcome at Parkside. They feel like they are being led well by Amy Yon, our principal, which is no surprise, of course, if you know Amy. They love the teams that they are a part of, and they really appreciate the diversity that we have. So just a lot of great things happening at Parkside, just too much to be able to get into 5 minutes. But I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to approach the board this evening? Seeing none, we will move on to the approval of the consent resolution agenda. The board members have been provided background material and information on each item we have discussed at a previous meeting. These items will be acted upon with one vote without any discussion. Any board member may remove an item from the agenda. This item will be discussed and voted on separately under the agenda item of individually considered resolutions.
I move to approve the consent agenda as follows. A, Chief of Finance Operations approvals, number 1, retirements, Pamela Hoagland, Social Studies teacher at Fond du Lac High School, effective at the end of the 2023-24 school year with 34 and a half years of dedicated service. And Roy Ramirez, art teacher at Fond du Lac High School, effective at the end of the 2023-24 school year with 31 years of dedicated service. Number 2, resignation, Heather Jolka, special ed teacher at Parkside Elementary School, effective at the end of the day on November 3rd, 2023. And then number 3 is employment recommendations. Ashley Arnhalter, 1.0 FTE special education teacher at Riverside Elementary School at level 4, effective January 23rd, 2024. Ryan Azaline, 1.0 FTE math teacher at the Fond du Lac High School at level 1, effective January 23rd, 2024. Madison Brzezinski, 1.0 FTE math teacher at Sabish Middle School at level 1, effective January 22nd, 2024. Allison Grill, 1.0 FTE grade 2 teacher at Waters Elementary School at level 1, effective January 22nd, 2024. Jaden Laurent, 1.0 FTE special education teacher at Parkside Elementary School at level 4, effective January 22nd, 2024. Steve Massens, 1.0 FTE technology education teacher at Fond du Lac High School at level 13, effective January 22nd, 2024. Cassandra Van Evenhoven, 1.0 FTE grade 7 ELA teacher at Tyson Middle School at level 1, effective January 16th, 2024. And Mary Walter, 1.0 FTE library media specialist at Sabish and Tyson Middle Schools at level 1, effective January 16th, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Henschel, seconded by Mr. Godfrey, to approve the consent agenda. Could we have the roll, please?
Godfrey,
Yes.
Henschel,
Yes.
Horth. Yes. Motor.
Yes.
Pennell,
Yes.
Uselman, yes. Schreider.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries 7-0. We will now move on to individually considered resolutions.
I move the Board of Education approve the suggested revisions to Board Policy 5113 Open Enrollment Program Interdistrict as presented at second reading with such revisions to be effective upon formal action of the board following second reading.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Henschel, seconded by Mrs. Usselman. Open this up for discussion. Dr. Flagg?
So this is the second reading of this policy. We've had a workshop on it. We had a first reading the last meeting. This is a second reading. This policy needs to be approved before we get to the next part of the agenda, because that will determine our open enrollment seats, because we just have to have this approved by the time we determine open enrollment seats. And then just a little bit of a heads up is that you all, if you haven't received it yet, we are on another Neola policy revision that you will be, have they received it yet, Sean, or you will be receiving? We'll probably get to that in end of February, March. Can't quite wait, because the next one I have a meeting in April, Linda, okay, for the next revision, I believe. So anyway, you're probably going to get it, but we're going to give you a month to read it. It's kind of a lot, so, all right?
Keeps the
But this is,
attorneys
it's just
in
part of the cycle. It's the joy of serving on the school board. So anyway, the gift that keeps on giving. So anyway, I'm just asking for your approval here, okay?
Any discussion at all? Call the roll.
Okay. Henschel,
Yes.
Horth,
Yes.
Motor,
Yes.
Pennell,
Yes.
Usselman, yes. Godfrey,
Yes.
and Schreider.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Next, we'll move on to the chief academic officer for designated spaces available for regular education and special education for the 2024 school year.
I move the Board of Education approve that there are no caps to accept students into a regular education classroom, and approve the request to close the consideration of all students requiring special education services.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Godfrey, seconded by Mr. Henschel. Move on to, is Mr. Gahan going to?
Yep, Mr. Gahan will take this, okay?
Yep.
Good evening. As indicated, thank you for approving the policy, of which the recommendation is specifically earmarked in terms of special education on page 4 of 6, numbers 4 and 5. As described and stated, I'm here tonight to discuss, as I presented, information on the numbers and projections for students, our resident students for the following school year. You should have received that in your executive summary packet. Important to note that as we continue to integrate students with disabilities into the regular education environment in an effort to increase expectations and therefore outcomes, it's very important for us to keep staffing and student-staff ratio sizes at an appropriate level. As you saw in the information presented, we are entering the school year and continue to have 6 unfilled positions at this point. The student-staff ratios that you were given is with existing staff, so unaccounting for any potential staffing changes that might be coming up. With that said, outside of cross-categorical students, we also have really high numbers of speech and language students requiring speech and language therapy, as well as their occupational and physical therapy as well.
Any questions from Ms. Gahan?
Yeah, I just, thank you. It's really clear. It's unfortunate that we don't have any spots, but we really don't. And my understanding is that can be reconsidered at the beginning of next year as well, once, if anything changes in our numbers at that time. So thank you for putting this together. It's really clear.
Thank you.
And unfortunate that we can't.
Any other comments? No? Thank you, Mrs. Motor. Can we have the roll call, please?
Horth,
Yes.
Motor,
Yes.
Pennell,
Yes.
Usselman, yes. Godfrey,
Yes.
Henschel,
Yes.
Schreider.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Next up, we will be for Chief of Finance and Operations.
I move the Board of Education authorize that contracts be offered to the continuing administrative staff for 2024 through 2026.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Godfrey, seconded by Mrs. Usselman. Do you want this one, and Mr. Gerlach?
The names we brought before you are up for their contract renewal. It's important to know that that's not everybody, because some people are in the process of completing the first year of their 2-year contract, so it's not the whole administrative staff. So, so it's about half the group, roughly, so.
Comments? Thoughts? No? All right, can we have the roll, please?
Motor.
Yes.
Panau.
Yes.
Uselman, yes. Godfrey.
Yes.
Henschel.
Yes.
Horth.
Yes.
Schreider.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Next, we will move on to the consider recommendation to create a director of English language learning and bilingual education.
I move the Board of Education approve the administration's recommendation to create a director of English language learning and bilingual education.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Henschel, seconded by Mr. Godfrey. I will put this to Dr. Flagg then.
Thank you. I'm going to talk a little bit about this position. I'm proposing we add an administrative position to oversee our English language learning and bilingual programming. And about probably, I think it was probably 9-10 months ago, we came to you to ask to propose that we want to pay our current staff to go back and get their ELL certification, which we are doing, as well as give them a $10,000 stipend to really help with the staffing in that area. Fond du Lac County demographically is changing. We are becoming linguistically diverse by the day. And Megan's here from Parkside. It changes daily. It's one of the great assets of our community is as we become more linguistically diverse. And what has happened is we tried to take the leadership and put it on the back of other administrators in addition to the other duties, okay? It's been with principals over the years. It's been with the equity coordinator. It's been with teaching and learning or the chief academic officer. And this is the first year we have bilingual math happening at Parkside. But we need to really champion that because by state law 115.85, we have reached the threshold where we should have bilingual programming in all of our schools except for Lakeshore. So it'll take years for us to get there, but we need to expand that because if students can learn in their home language, their native language, as well as English, they will further learn English quicker, as well as students who are, if we ever want to get to where we truly have bilingual programming, we can have students who are English speakers join that class too, like an immersion type program, if we ever get that far. But we desperately need leadership here in this area to really champion this, as well as to really provide we have a plan. We are not executing the plan near to what we should be. Marissa's doing it right now. It's also been on her plate too. I forgot, Marissa, I forgot you did it last year, I believe. And so I just want to take you through the numbers here a little bit here on this, okay? Back in the 2020-21 school year, we had 444 students who were identified as English language learners. This does not, and I believe, Marissa, how many native languages do we have? 15. So we have 15 native languages in our district, okay? I have colleagues in districts that have over 100, okay? We're fairly monolingual. English and Spanish are the two major languages, and then Hmong is probably the next one. But we've seen an increase of over 200, almost 200 students over the past 4 years, and that's been predominantly Spanish. And one of the things when you talk about, and Marissa, jump in here, with our students who become a part of our English learners program, it's not a program they should stay in forever. They need to exit. We are not exiting students. And what happened is it's kind of like a life sentence for them, that if they come in, we have students who have been in it all the way through school, and that they should be exiting out in about roughly 5 to 6 years, if not quicker, and we are not achieving that. So right now with our access data, so access testing measures English language proficiency. It's used across well beyond Wisconsin. 49% of our students, which is almost half, need additional support to become proficient. So we're looking to add a director here who can lead this, help provide a vision here as we become more linguistically diverse in our district, as well as this will hopefully help also feed into a workforce that is better qualified for work beyond high school. So That's what I'm asking for you to consider. I think, Marissa, do you have anything you want to add?
We've been working on getting some more staff, and we, through that program where we have teachers go back and get ESL licensure, we've been able to drop a few from the classroom, and we have more that are interested in doing that. We can definitely use more staff. We know that, about 40% of our kids are over their time to exit that 6-year window that Dr. Flagg was talking about. So there is a high need to really target people at the elementary level and get that proficiency up when their brains are most plastic and able to take in all that linguistic information. And also at our high school level, where people are coming in and trying to start doing this at a much older age and have much less time to get to that. So I think, the director position would help us also to do some recruiting and just targeted recruiting to get people into the classroom to support kids and to support our teachers who are in the best position to really drive these kids' proficiency forward.
What would paint the perfect picture of what that person would look like as far as, description of what they would be doing, or out there, if someone's listening and they are questioning, am I, a good fit for this or not? What would that look like?
Well, I think first of all, they have to be a certified principal because they're going to be involved in the evaluation of teachers, and two, they're going to need to have a background in working with students who are from different cultures, who have maybe, we really like to have someone who has an ELL background who actually taught it, would be ideal, and also someone who has also led it in another district, the bilingual programming as well as ELL, so that's what we're looking for.
So this position has been, is out there in other districts?
Yes.
And so, okay, that's what I was wondering.
Dr. Flagg, is the difference between a coordinator position and a director's position in the ability to be able to evaluate teachers?
It's not, I know the difference is it's close. Both can evaluate.
Okay.
It's the evaluation of, it's the direct reports and the in conducting their evaluation. So conducting their summative evaluation. A coordinator can go do an observation for a teacher. The director would be evaluating people and doing their summative evaluations.
And so that's why you made the decision to move
Yes.
forward as a director instead of a
Yep.
coordinator?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And that becomes helpful just in the simple fact of the emerging bilingual that we're having and being the growth that it is exhibiting, to be able to have that, to have our best foot forward in the programs we're teaching, to the point that Mrs. Lombardo said and you said. And you can see it in the update, only 40% are on track to reach proficiency within 6 years, which is the DPI metric. So we have to find a way to really improve that, and that I think that director position would have more tools available to them in order to do that. It's almost not fair to have somebody that's doing something else to be able to try to task them with that as well.
The other metric that really kind of pushed me on this is that we only have an 80% graduation rate for our students that are emerging bilinguals. That's our second lowest. Our students are black is the lowest at 78%, and our district percent is 93. So, so if they do not graduate, that's going to inhibit their ability to to get a job as well as have income. So, it's someone who's also going to have to champion this.
Any other thoughts or comments from the board? Can we call the roll, please?
Pano.
Yes.
Uselman, yes. Godfrey.
Yes.
Henschel.
Yes.
Porth.
Yes.
Motor.
Yes.
Schreider.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Move on to the approval of the 2024-25 school calendar. Mr. Stein?
I move the Board of Education approve the 2024-25 school calendar as presented.
Second.
Motion, sorry, Mr. Godfrey, I kind of cut you off there.
That's okay.
Motion by Mr. Henschel, seconded by Mr. Godfrey. Let's go to Mr. Steinbarth.
I will pass that to Mr. Marion as he had prepared the report.
Oh,
Yeah, we shared with you last time for first reading, our board calendar. We had no feedback out of that meeting, and everyone was appreciative of the work being done and the staff input to point. So we are seeking approval. As you do that, a reminder, both to the board and the viewing public, that we will still plan to have 6 elementary academic planning days, but we'll bring those back at a later date as we work closer to finalizing our plans for next year in terms of curriculum and the academics there.
I'd like to add one thing to the calendar. Are we okay if we just come back and inform you of the of those 6 days? Because you're going to approve them this evening as a part of that, okay? If we just come and share for the information when we get that far. Okay. Because you're approving the 6 academic plan days. We just haven't decided yet, all right? So we'll just come back and inform you of when those are, and then we'll notify families too. Okay.
comments, discussion, questions?
No, it was just good that you had a committee and brought everybody together, and that everybody, teachers, staff, and administration, made the decision together versus just pushing it on them. So that's great.
How many reviews would you think you had on the calendar?
We had over 30 staff members. All staff were invited to participate in the feedback session. So it wasn't truly a selected committee. That was a change a number of years ago, really just to invite whoever is interested that could come.
Okay. That's a great representation. Can we have the roll, please?
Yes. Uselman, yes. Godfrey?
Yes.
Henschel?
Yes.
Horth?
Yes.
Motor?
Yes.
Panow?
Yes.
Schreider?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries 7-0 for the approval of the 2024 and 25 school calendar. Next, we'll move on to the board administrator reports. Dr. Flagg.
I have 2 announcements here. One is the today we launched the Student Employee Experience Survey. So before I came up here, I looked, we had 230 staff already completed today. It's open through January 29th, and Justin will be sending reminders out throughout the week to remind staff to complete it. The Student Experience Survey will be February 5th through February 16th, and then we will do the Parent Satisfaction Survey February 13th through the 29th. And the parent has a longer window because it's during parent-teacher conferences. So we're going to, and we have conferences all over the place during that time, give them a chance to complete it, and we're going to have some QR codes up for them to scan right when they walk in the school to do it. So we'll be reporting those out. Hopefully have that data ready for you at the second meeting in March across the board. So good stuff going on there to get some feedback from our employees. And then lastly, what I don't have on the agenda for announcement is this. You all can add this to your calendar, Monday, March 4th. We will have a 5 p.m. board development meeting on Board Docs. Board Docs is going to be going live at the following meeting, and we're going to, we have someone coming from Board Docs to train us. It'll probably take no more than 1 hour, but it's going to be a board development session on Board Docs. And where everything, we're going to move away from all paper, and everything will be right on the website there for you. You'll be working right off your machine and whatnot. So it'll be pretty slick. So we're excited to do that. And
Was it March 4th?
Is that March 5th at 5?
for March 4th, Monday, March 4th at 5
5
p.m.
Would we be able to record that?
Probably next person. Is she coming?
So could,
We'll have to see. I don't know if she uses Google or Zoom, but we could try, yeah.
because I'll be out of the country.
Okay.
Come on.
We'll see what we can do. So anyway, so please put that down, but
Where are you going?
it'll be great for all of you. So, yep. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to board members' highlights from the State Education Convention. I know a number of you were there.
You want
Antonio?
me to go?
Let's-
I can start. I mean, it was, wow. As for my second year going, I kind of flew solo going into a lot of the booths and different breakout sessions. There were multiple of that were student led that were just it just blew my mind that these kids, the way they commanded the presentation from start to finish, and to see some of the work that they're doing in their buildings were phenomenal. And can I do something real quick, Todd? I kind of miss Linda this year at the conference, and I know this was one of her favorites. So there you go.
Thank you.
So, yeah, but other than that, we got through we made it through the delegate assembly. All of the resolutions passed. There were a few that were amended just to change some of the grammar, but we got out of there in a timely fashion. Nobody left. At the end of the delegate assembly, the delegate from Milwaukee Schools wanted to add a resolution, but she missed the deadline for filing that with everyone so everybody can do their research and do everything else. But it didn't make it. It didn't because she missed the deadline. Some schools got it and some people didn't. So, but other than that, a phenomenal conference. I learned a side of a lot of people that I didn't know. It was good to see some people that I met last year that were there again, but it was all in all a great conference. So thank y'all for allowing me to go. And the other presentation that I went to look at was they had a presentation on vaping. We know the problem that we're having here with vaping with our youth, and some of the information I paused at because, as most of you know, that's the field I work in. It's a lot of education. It's one part of theirs is one district is running a course that's led by the district, and we all know that our staff and our administrators are really run thin, and I challenged the presenters on where are the parents' involvement in this, because if the kids are being suspended and sent home, and you're suspending them for vaping or whatever that issue is, but if they're going home and then you force them to do this program, where's the parent involvement in this? Because we can all sit and say, don't do this, this is what you're getting. But if the parents are not involved in this, the program that they're using to me, is redundant because it makes no sense. And then you have to add something else to a teacher and another administrator for another course. So program will work if they get their parents involved. So if anybody wants a copy of this, I got extra copies for you guys. So, but other than that, the conference was great, and I hope I get to go back next year.
Good, thank you. Mrs. Moore?
Yeah, it was a great conference, and as a new school board member, I really enjoyed going to school finance, as well as there was a session on new school board members, which was helpful, updates in law, which was great. One of the school-related sessions was Platteville, and some of the DEIB work that they're doing, and they have a student organization which is extremely strong, and they support other students in bullying, anti-bullying. And they also are part of a national organization, so that was really exciting to see. And then I was invited to go to the 3rd Annual Bold Conversations Women's Network with Deb Kerr and Monica Kelsey Brown and some strong women in the area of education. And the funds that were donated during that time went to help female high school students spend time on college campuses prior to graduation from high school. So it was a really exciting event, and I got to meet some strong women in our field.
Awesome. Thank you. Mrs. Pennell?
Unfortunately, I was not able to attend the meeting this year. Looking forward to next year, it sounds like I missed a lot.
Yeah, I was unfortunately unable to attend as well, so had it all booked in last minute. Mrs. Worth was Mr. Hanschel?
All right. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff, and I kind of was chuckling because it seems like, our backgrounds that we live in every day is kind of what attracted us to the different, things that we went and visited. So I did a lot with the financial budgeting pieces of it, understanding how that works a little bit deeper, benefits and how to use, different ways of offering employee benefits to the teachers and to the administration, things like that. But the one that was a little harder for me to sit through is the attorney one, but it was fascinating. A lot of different moving parts that are right now sitting at Madison, and a lot of things that they're looking and reviewing that could have major impacts for us in the future down the road, and how things are paid for and how things are budgeted. So yeah, things to look at and to watch going forward here. So in Madison, so that was an intriguing one. Opened my eyes to a lot of different things that I wasn't aware of. So outside of that, if you're looking at all activities, if you're going down that road, a bunch of different sporting events too. With basketball, wrestling, and with the school. So yeah, state convention's always educational. So.
Mrs. Usselman wasn't there. Dr. Flagg, did you have anything that you wanted to say about the convention at all while we're going around the table?
Yeah, one of the great things for me at the convention is I get a chance to connect with the largest 20 school superintendents from the largest 20 school districts in the state as part of the caucus that we meet. Really have a conversation about we all have a lot of the same problems, a lot of the same challenges, while also getting a legislative update on what's coming down the pike too. So that's probably the highlight for me is that time I get to spend with the other superintendents who are also leading large districts.
Excellent. All right, then we'll move on to the student and staff activities. Mrs. Moore?
I haven't been out and about, but I have been communicating with Mrs. Brigham from Lakeshore to schedule sometimes to get into the classrooms, because if it's not built in my calendar, it's not going to happen. So it's my problem-solving
That's
technique.
my problem too. Mr. Henschel's been to many different sporting events.
I also attended a sporting event, pep band, and I also got to see the Youth and Government Group do a raffle there, which was very good. I supported that. And what else? Oh, 2 nights ago, Live in Swing City was the big fundraiser for the band, and the kids did an excellent job, and the atmosphere is just really fun there, and that was wonderful. So
Very cool. Mrs. Pennell?
Unfortunately, I was out of town and not able to partake this week.
Mrs. Moore?
Superintendent's conference took up my time.
Oh,
Mr. Godfrey?
well, I was missing my babies over at Parkside, so I mean not Parkside, Pyre, and I stopped over at Pyre after I got in town from the conference on Friday, and Pyre teachers that were in the lunchroom at about 12 o'clock. I am so sorry. Y'all had just got all those kids nice and quiet and ready to go outside back to their classrooms, and in come the troublemaker and riled them all up. So I'm sorry, but then I went over to Riverside and just visited with and got them nice and riled up too. Another thing I did also a few weeks ago that I presented with Officer Kawan Brown, Chief Goldstein, and Larice Snyder at the Diversity and Equity and Inclusion Applied Conference at Mid-State Technical College. We presented on the program that all four of us started. It's called Courageous Conversations at the Dinner Table with Law Enforcement. That was the highlight of the last 2 weeks because there was a segment in that presentation where myself and Officer Brown shared some pretty really deep things and incidents that caused us to be a part of that program and wanted to see that program here in the city of Fond du Lac. So that's all I did. So, yeah,
That's it? That's all?
I'm done.
All right.
That's all I did.
That's all you did? I did not get out and about much last 2 weeks. I was going to go help shovel at the high school on Thursday, but Friday decided against that. I'm just kidding. Next week, I will be visiting all the middle schools. They're not aware of that yet, so I have to reach out.
Now they know.
What's that?
Now they know.
Now they know, yeah.
If we get to
Give them
drive
the
some
heads
snowblower tractors, then I'm in on that. That sounds like fun. That would be fun.
So we'll be ready to go, so.
Can I add one more?
Absolutely.
I just was, when you were talking about the community stuff too, on Friday and Saturday, I was able to participate in the bed building with Sleep in Heavenly Peace, which was really cool. And I just want to shout out to, a lot of our retired teachers are doing things like that for kids, for our community, even after they've retired from the schools. And it was great to see familiar faces there, so.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, that will wrap up our board administrator reports. We will move on to our second session of public comment. If anybody would like to approach the board for this one, remember 5 minutes per topic, 10 minutes per topic, 5 minutes per person.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Black History Month next month. So I have a couple texts going out to a couple admins and conversations right now. Excuse me. So first of all, I want to say that the Ebony Vision Lending Library has purchased 20 books for called I'm From, and it's actually a poetry lesson. So we purchased them for any teacher in the district to get a hold of us, and we'll deliver if you want to do some poetry lesson during Black History Month, and it's called I'm From, the book is. Second of all, I'm hoping that we can do a couple fun activities, kind of like they do across the nation in schools, like door decorating contest. And if that happens, I would love for it to be on our social media pages, as you go and take some pictures throughout the buildings. I'm really hoping teachers and students can collaborate on that together, because obviously it's also a lesson, learning the history or in art. You can do everything with that. Let's see. I thought I had one more thing, but I always talk off the top of my head. I never write it down. I think I'll leave it at that and sit down and remember exactly what I was going to say. I'm sure y'all have been there. Thanks.
Thanks, Charlotte. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will move on to the additional appropriate matters conversation. Anyone have any additional appropriate matters at the board table? Oh, seeing none. I was just going to sit here in silence because we haven't had a board meeting end before 6 o'clock.
Oh, no, you don't get that lucky. I move the Board of Education adjourn the regular scheduled meeting.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Godfrey, seconded by Mrs. Usselman. Can we call the roll, please?
Certainly. Godfrey?
Yes.
Henschel?
Yes.
Horth?
Yes.
Motor?
Yes.
Penow?
Yes.
Usselman, yes. And Schreider?
Yes. The January 20, now adjourned at 5:53.